Have you ever finally sat down to rest, but somehow it still felt like something was being asked of you? Maybe your body stopped moving, but your mind kept going. You were thinking about what still needed to get done, wondering whether you had actually earned the break, checking the time, feeling guilty for not being productive, or trying to make sure you were resting the right way. And even though you were technically taking a break, you didn't actually feel free. You weren't working in the obvious way, but you were still carrying something. And that might be why rest still feels like work. Sometimes the problem is not that you never stop. Sometimes the problem is that even when you do stop, your mind is still managing everything. You may be sitting quietly, but inside, you're planning the next thing. You're replaying the day. You're measuring whether you have done enough. You're trying to decide what you should do after the break. You're wondering whether you're wasting time. From the outside, it looks like rest, but on the inside, it still feels like responsibility, and that is a very different thing. Rest can start to feel like work when it comes with pressure attached to it. The pressure to recover quickly, the pressure to make the break useful, the pressure to calm down on command, the pressure to come back better, clearer, happier, more focused, or more productive. When that pressure is present, rest just becomes another task. It becomes something to perform, something to optimize, something to get right. Instead of being a place where you're allowed to let go, it becomes one more area where you're quietly judging yourself. You might think, I should be more relaxed by now. Or, why am I still tired? Or, I only have 30 minutes, so I need this to work. Or, if I am going to rest, I should at least do something healthy with the time. And suddenly, even your break has expectations attached to it. That is not true rest. That is productivity wearing softer clothes. But pressure is only one part of it. For a lot of people, the harder part is guilt. Another reason rest can feel like work is that guilt can follow you into it. You might lie down, take a walk, watch something comforting, or sit outside for a few minutes, but part of you is still arguing with yourself. Part of you is saying, you should be doing more. You're falling behind. Other people have it harder. You don't have time for this. When guilt is present, your body may be still, but your mind is defending the fact that you stopped. That is exhausting. Now, the break is not just a break. It's a debate. You are resting, but you are also trying to justify resting. That keeps your nervous system engaged. It keeps you on alert. It keeps part of you braced even when nothing urgent is happening. And sometimes, even when the guilt gets quieter, your body may still not know how to settle. This is also why quiet can feel uncomfortable when you've been running on stress for a long time. If your body has gotten used to being needed, being available, being alert, or being in motion, then stillness can feel unfamiliar. You might finally get a quiet moment and immediately feel restless. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because your system hasn't fully learned that quiet is safe yet. It may still be waiting for the next demand, the next message, the next problem, or the next thing you forgot. So if rest feels hard, it doesn't always mean you're bad at resting. It may mean your mind and body have been living in stay-ready mode for too long. And when you're used to staying ready, simply stopping is not always enough. Sometimes rest needs less pressure around it before it can actually become restorative. The question is not, how do I rest perfectly? The better question is, what would make this break carry less demand? Not more impressive, not more productive, not more optimized, just lighter. Maybe that means putting your phone in another room for 10 minutes so you aren't half resting and half monitoring. Maybe it means choosing a form of rest that has no outcome, not a self-improvement task, not another thing to track, just something that gives your mind a little room. Maybe it means deciding, for the next 20 minutes, I am not solving my life. Maybe it means letting a walk just be a walk, letting a cup of coffee just be a cup of coffee, letting yourself sit without turning it into a plan. This doesn't have to be dramatic. You don't have to disappear for a weekend, restructure your whole life, or become perfectly peaceful. You can start much smaller. You can take one small piece of responsibility out of the break, one expectation, one source of pressure, one layer of guilt, one thing you're trying to prove. When you do that, rest has a little more space to become what it was supposed to be, not another assignment, not a reward you have to earn, not a strategy to make yourself useful again, just a pause where you're allowed to stop carrying everything for a moment. So if rest still feels like work, try not to blame yourself. Instead, gently ask, what am I still carrying right now? Am I carrying guilt? Am I carrying pressure? Am I carrying the need to be available? Am I carrying the belief that this break has to fix everything? And then see if you can put down just one piece of it. Not all of it, just one piece. Sometimes recovery doesn't begin with doing rest better. Sometimes it begins with making rest safer, simpler, and less demanding. Maybe today rest doesn't have to prove anything. Maybe it can just be a place where you stop asking so much of yourself. If this helped you, stay with the Resilience Project. In the next video, we'll talk about one small boundary that can help make rest possible.